Alrighty, so for the next installment, we're going to be dealing with some congruent triangles here. So I'm looking at mainly number 14, which is really 7 questions. So it's more than just number 14 here. So basically, you got to look at these sets here, these 7 triangle sets, and you're doing what you did at the bottom of that quiz and what we did in class. You're marking the diagrams based on what you see visually, and then deciding if it's side, 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 angle, side, or whatever. You also got to name the triangles. So basically, that's what the triangle congruency is, that congruent statement. Okay. So I'm going to get a new slide here so that we can look at this stuff. So when you are trying to add marks to a diagram, you can't just add marks for no reason, okay? And I keep stressing this, and there's some people that still aren't quite getting that. If you cannot think of a reason to mark it, resist the temptation and do not mark it, okay? I know you want to mark stuff, okay? But you gotta have a reason for it, okay? So there's only 3 reasons that you're gonna ever mark something, okay? So the first one, shared side, or in the case of number 7 here, where they overlap, you notice that that angle at A is going to be shared between kind of this top triangle ABY and the bottom triangle AXC. Okay. The second case is vertical angles. Okay. Some people still do not remember what vertical angles are from chapter 1. Okay. That's angles that are across from each other. Okay. So those would be congruent. So you got like a bow tie thing. The third thing, if you have parallel lines, then you can mark your alternate interior angles. It looks like most people have gotten that one down. Okay. So if I've got something like this, and I've got parallel sides here, these would be my alternate interior angles. Or, let's say I've got the same diagram, but I've moved my parallel sides. Well, now my alternate interior angles, slightly different location. Okay. There is no like 4th, 5th, 6th reason when marking a diagram. Okay. So resist the temptation. Okay. Don't add something beyond these 3. Okay. The only case where you add something beyond those 3 is when I've actually told you, like in the directions, hey, this is a midpoint. This is a bisector. This is something else that needs to be marked congruent. Okay? So these are the 3 times when you can look at a diagram and mark it using your judgment. Okay? Are they shared sides? Are they vertical angles? Are they alternate interior angles? Okay? So remember, alternate interior angles are only going to happen with parallel lines. So when you look at every single diagram, you need to think to yourself those 3 questions, okay? So I need to look at number 1 here. Do I have shared sides? No. Do I have vertical angles? No. Do I have parallel lines? No. Okay? So that means I'm not adding anything there. If I look at 2, do I have shared sides? Yes, right in the center. Do I have vertical angles? No. Do I have parallel sides? No. Okay, so that means the only thing that was added was the shared side. For 3, same thing. Do I have a shared side? I want you to make that decision. Do I have vertical angles? Finally, do I have parallel sides? Okay. Not do they look parallel, are they actually marked with arrows? Okay. For 4, again, do I have shared sides? Do I have vertical angles? Do I have parallel sides? For 5, you got to do a little bit of work beforehand. You've got to find those missing angles in those 2 triangles so that you can mark the angles that are congruent, okay? Because they're going to have the same number. And then you need to look. Do I have a shared side? Do I have vertical angles? For 6, again, do I have a shared side? Do I have vertical angles? Do I have parallel sides? Okay. When you answer those questions, that determines yes, so I need to add a mark, or no, leave it alone. For 7, I'll give you a little hint here. It's going to be easier if you split up the triangle ABY and AXC because they're overlapping there. So it might be easier to redraw that one. Okay. So with those, that's all you're looking at when you're looking at triangle congruency. Okay. So when I'm adding marks, once you've added marks, then you've got to look at the 5 reasons or 5 ways that triangles can be congruent, okay? So the first one, side, side, side. You shouldn't miss that. 3 pairs of sides marked congruent. Next one, side, angle, side. So the angle is connecting the 2 sides that are marked congruent. Third one, angle, side, angle. 2 angles, only 1 side marked in between. Fourth, 2 angles, but now the side is not in between the 2 angles. And finally, the 5th one, this only happens when you happen to have a right angle. You can check this one. If it doesn't have a right angle, don't you dare put HL, because it's got to at least have that right angle. But it also has to have the hypotenuse marked and the leg. The other option is kind of a none of the above. So that would be not congruent. Okay. When you go to actually write out the statement, so let's say we know that the triangles are congruent by something like side, 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 okay, or side, angle, side, or whatever. Then you've actually got to write out that like triangle ABC is congruent to triangle whatever, okay? So I'm going to give you an example here. One that's most commonly missed. Parallel lines, boom. Alternate interior angles. Shared side, boom. I might give you something else as well here, just because you need something else. So I'm going to have triangle A, B, C congruent to, so A in this top triangle had 1 congruent mark. That's going to match C in the bottom triangle. B had a double. D had a double. And then finally, C in the top triangle had no mark. A in the bottom triangle had no mark. And that one was by angle, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. Okay. So hopefully that helps you out, and you can go ahead and do those 6. And basically, if you do those correctly, it's almost like you're kind of doing a proof in your head, and I'll explain that in the next video. Okay, so go ahead and finish up that question 14, which is really 7 questions. And I hope this helps. Let me know if you got any questions.